But as Nemesis approaches, the inner solar system becomes a shooting gallery.
And so there start to be a few more comets than usual, and then suddenly there are just comets coming all the time.
And at the peak, there might be 1,000 to 10,000 comets per year in the sky.
Over the past century alone, meteorites have struck homes, vehicles, and even people. In 1954, an 8-pound meteorite crashed through the roof of a home in Sylacauga, Alabama, and hit a woman in the hip, leaving her with nasty bruises. In October 1992, amateur videos caught a fireball flashing across the skies above several Atlantic states. The 27-pound meteorite eventually crushed the back end of a car in Peekskill, New York. In November 2008, a police dash camera recorded a bright meteorite explosion in the skies over Alberta, Canada. These caught-on-video impacts prove that things really do fall from the sky.
Approximately 700,000 asteroids between Mars and Jupiter, and some of these will eventually come hurtling towards Earth as they have in the past.
Asteroids are only one of many threats to the small planet on which we live. From earthquakes to rising ocean levels, from supervolcanoes to devastating tsunami waves, humans are confronted with forces that could challenge or even end life on Earth.
This rare flyby happening today. NASA says a twin comet will fly by the Earth today. They could be interplanetary twins. So that means the smaller one could be a fragment that broke off of the larger one.
That means.
Yeah, so the smaller comet was discovered 2 months ago. The larger twin will pass near Earth today with a smaller comet following suit Tuesday. But the event will be the third closest comet flyby in recorded history. So a lot of people watching out, looking.
I was wondering what interplanetary twins meant.
And I know you've always been asking, now we have answered your question.
I'm glad you broke it down for me.
A meteor has been filmed in the skies above Britain, the second time it's happened in a month. It was visible in the middle of the night across the south and eastern parts of the Midlands.
You'll see what appears to be a CME that turns into a perfect circle. But look what's behind the CME, that right there. It revealed a dark object. And there it is. And it's a very good size. So is this what was seen, or that, over in France a couple of months ago? Right there it is, perfect circle, about the same size. Is that a byproduct of the CME? I've never seen anything like that before in 6-7 years of observing data, but you know, I guess anything's possible, and anything is possible. That very well could be something there that we just can't see it from Earth. And maybe it was just revealed for a brief moment. I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. I'm going to enhance the photos here in just a few minutes to show it to you in some different exposures to show you that it is there. Something is there in this image. Watch. Okay, there you can see it. That's just as it is. And I'm going to change the exposure a little bit. There you can see it eclipsing the smaller object. And it actually interferes with the circle. Now it goes past it. And here it is in black and white. Actually, it's X-ray. The object's there. It's round, man. There's no denying it. When I would have changed exposures, it would have either disappeared or not stayed as profound as it is. But you can see the smaller object behind it as well. This isn't, I think, negative, but something right there is very, very mysterious. So is that. Small thing back there, It's actually quite large, but the big sphere eclipsed it and actually revealed it. Eyes on the skies,
A
folks.
massive meteor shower or massive meteor impact or massive asteroid impact on planet Earth.
Most scientists view such threats as the random acts of an endlessly changing planet within an endlessly changing universe. But many fundamentalist Christians believe today's threats are unique. For them, recent disasters and the threat of even worse to come are proof that prophecies from the book of Revelation are at last coming true. God will soon eliminate all that is wicked by destroying this world. Could it be that Revelation's 4 horsemen of the apocalypse have at last begun their fearful ride?
Well, Jesus made plain that the end of days would not be a peaceful time. There would be political upheaval, war against nations increasing. There would be increasing earthquakes and these sorts of things. And from what I'm reading, we are having an increase in these natural disasters.
Tutti noi diciamo siamo diversi, siamo differenti, abbiamo differenti culture e religioni, ma siamo fratelli e vogliamo vivere in pace. Questo, tutti noi, insieme. Musulmani, indi, cattolici, copti, evangelici, ma fratelli, figli dello stesso Dio, che vogliamo vivere in pace, integrati.
Bald eagles found dead in Delaware. Now neighbors and police are looking for answers.
Now all of a sudden they're dying here, there. Where's next?
5 of America's iconic birds were found dead in Sussex County, and a lot of people want to know why.
The mystery involving dead bald eagles appears to be growing tonight. Police are investigating the deaths of 5 more eagles in Delaware. This just weeks after more than a dozen were found dead on the eastern shore. They're the symbol of America, and for some reason they keep turning up dead. This time in Delaware, where a man discovered an eagle was sick and called the Department of Natural Resources.
At the time, a single bird didn't throw any flags. A little bit later that morning, another officer received a call that there was several eagles. I believe there was 8 eagles in a field that were all on the ground, and that some of those eagles seemed to be in distress.
5 of the 8 have now died. The others are being treated at a rescue facility. This comes after 13 bald eagles were found last month just 30 miles away near Federalsburg in Caroline County.
Now investigators are trying to figure out who or what is responsible. It's Monday afternoon. I'm Shari Williams.
And I'm Brian Taft. The big story on Action News today is the mysterious deaths of several bald eagles.
This would be unusual, but we don't normally see cases like this.
In Cocoa Beach, it looks almost as if you can walk across the thick carpet of dead fish filling some canals.
Oh my God, this is terrible. This is the worst I've ever seen it, and I've been in here since 1970.
And that's not just because there are so many dead fish. It's also because the dying is so widespread. A fish kill normally covers a small area, a pinpoint on the map. But right now, fish are going belly up from Titusville to the Pineda Causeway, from Kennedy Space Center to Patrick Air Force Base.
Thank you for joining me again. Here's an update what's going on at Yellowstone. USGS is reporting 3 earthquakes along that fault zone that I've talked about today, Universal Time. If you follow the track, we got a 0.7. That's its location. Let me see if I can make it bigger for you. Next is another 0.7, see, right next to each other. And then a 1.0. 12:13 Universal Time, or very early this morning, would have been 6:12 there at the park. A depth of 3.7 miles. There's its location. It's along Earthquake Lake, which was created because of a large earthquake. 1959, I believe it was. And here's the fault line. Let me zoom in. You can see it's broken. It's called blocked. And as I've been telling you guys lately, any earthquake has a 5% chance of being a foreshock for something larger. Only 5%. There was a 6.4 earthquake yesterday there in Russia. Generally, it does not affect the earthquakes along this area or even in the United States. But here's the signature that showed up at the park of that earthquake that occurred in Russia. And as you can see, the aftershock, it just kind of shook up the caldera. It wasn't that deep, 19.5 miles in depth. It occurred at 22:50 Universal Time. Here's the monitor for Moose Creek, Idaho. There's that earthquake that occurred in Russia. And we'll come down and you see recent activities going on. And then I'm going to jump to 9 o'clock there at the park, 16:50 Universal Time. This is the borehole for the canyon. This is the borehole for Yellowstone Lake. And then we have an earthquake that registered just after 8:19 Universal Time. This is Pelican Cove and this is Parker Peak. This here is one of the other monitors they have for the borehole for Yellowstone Lake. There's the earthquake that occurred at Russia. And I'll come down, you see a lot of cracking, more intrusion. And this is what's currently shown. There's another earthquake they have marked there, 2 there. Here's the other monitor for Parker Peak. You can see a lot of small microquakes, very small. There's this location along the orange line, which they figure is the outside edge of the caldera. Mount Sheridan, the next monitor that they have going east. There's its location. The borehole for Grant, the next one closest to the lake that's working. There's its location. And you'll see this one here is not working. We got Little West Thumb, some small little microquakes again showing. And the monitor for the western boundary. There's its location, point being most of the activity is showing to be on this side of the lake. Between 10 and 11 o'clock there at the canyon, 17:15, 19:15 Universal. Here we have the regular monitor for Yellowstone Lake. These marks here, the green line and blue line is when possibly something bumped the monitor. They shut it down and then turned it back on. So just after 1911 Universal Time, you see this intrusion, this indication right here. Here we have Madison River. Norris Junction picked that up. Here's the other monitor for Maple Creek. There's the earthquake. Holmes Hill picked it up. And Purple Mountain also picked it up. So this earthquake right here was probably 2, located within this area of the park. Another quake that's not being reported, this is the canyon, the borehole. Grant and Norris, this is the borehole like I said. The regular monitor at Yellowstone Lake, yeah, a lot of activity going. Maple Creek picked it up, Mary Lake picked it up. This is Madison River. Yeah, the intrusion is still going on. Norris Junction and the Upper Falls even picked it up.